You are listening to the Young Black Travelers podcast, Black voices conversing in experiential travel, dedicated to a global community of travelers. So be bold, be inspired, be spontaneous. We are YBT.
All right, so welcome to another episode of the Young Black Travelers podcast. My name is Asshur Cunningham, and I'm the founder of Young Black Travelers and the host of today's conversation. And like we do on all of our episodes, we bring on guests who are going to leave you wanting to travel or leaving some insights for you that is going to really help you in your journey in life. And on today's episode, we have a guest. I'm going to have him introduce himself, Carrington Carter. So, Carrington, I'm going to pass the mic over to you. Introduce yourself to our listeners.
For sure. Good evening, good day, good afternoon, whatever time you decide to view this podcast. I appreciate the invitation. I'm really looking forward to the conversation. I am Carrington M. Carter, co-founder and managing partner of Getaway Society, is our luxury vacation rental home brand. We've been in business a little bit over a decade, and I'm also co-founder and general partner of East Chop Capital, our private equity firm, which is a vehicle that we have used to scale our luxury vacation rental home portfolio. So representing two companies that I co-founded here today.
No, Carrington, this is really good. And listeners, I hope that after today's conversation, you're going to feel inspired. You're going to learn a lot. Clearly, we have Carrington, who is, literally talking from two business perspectives. And so for those of you who are very interested in real estate investment, all of these areas, this conversation is going to be the conversation for you today. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, before we get into the meat of today's conversation, Carrington, we obviously know that you like to travel, you're invested in vacation rentals. But before we get there, what's your favorite destination to travel, or your favorite destination you've traveled?
I'm going to say Costa Rica. Costa Rica. Been there a couple of times. Just really appreciate the beauty of the country and the multiple experiences of the country. You know, you can go out west to Tamarindo and experience the beach environment, or go up in the near Mount Arenal and see the volcano and the rainforest type environment, or you can drive into the capital city and kind of experience the nightlife. So I would say Costa Rica. I've been there a couple of times, and we rent an SUV and put anywhere from 500 to 1,000 miles, just kind of traversing the country. So Costa Rica is without a doubt one of my top favorite countries.
Wow, no, that is dope. So clearly, Costa Rica is that country you would actually recommend American, European, Australian listeners, people from the Caribbean, to drive in Costa Rica. Is it easy?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so that's good. So Costa Rica is Carrington's recommendation. All right, so that's the warm up. But tell us now. Now we're gonna get into a little bit about why you're here. So tell us a little bit about the Getaway Society, and just talk a little bit about the mission of the Getaway Society.
Sure. So Getaway Society is a luxury vacation rental home company. We've been in business a little bit over 10 years. It all started in the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania.
Oh.
Myself and a group of friends used to go skiing every year during President's Day weekend. And after the fourth trip, it was my turn to plan. So I found the house, I worked with the owner, and then started running the numbers as to what we were paying him to rent his house. And that's when I kind of saw the financial viability of getting into the vacation rental home industry. So this was 2011, 2012 or so. And so I experienced the homes as a guest first, and then I decided to jump into the investment aspect of it. So we ended up building a house in the Poconos from the ground up. It was a 6-bedroom, 3-bath home. And we actually sold that property just last year, May of last year. So held it for about 10 years and did quite well as a rental,
Hmm.
and then did even better when we sold it.
Wow, wow, wow. Now this is good because Young Black Travelers for the last few years, actually this year, we led a ski trip, not to Pennsylvania this time. We will led a ski trip up to upstate New York. And what you're saying is literally facts. People usually go and they rent these homes, beautiful homes usually. They're usually expensive. So look, travel can spark our interest to invest. And when we travel, we should be thinking about different ways that we can either benefit ourselves or even making our world better. And clearly, Carrington has used travel or an experience to really push him and advance him forward, and also our community. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Carrington, represented East Chop Capital. I almost got tongue twisted, and the Getaway Society. So stay tuned and join us as we get back. All right, so welcome back to the conversation with Carrington. Again, Carrington is representing East Chop Capital and the Getaway Society. And we learned from the last segment that Carrington started this venture simply by going ski. And so we've been talking a lot on our podcast of when we travel, we should be thinking about different ways, again, that we may be able to change the world, or even ways that we can create businesses. And here is one example of someone who has done that. But Carrington, our first question for you is, travel has been an important part of your life, both personally and professionally. How did one influence the other?
Great question. So I read a book many years ago called Integrated Life. And ever since I read that book, I tried to figure out ways to integrate all aspects of my life, whether it's
Mm,
work, play, family time, time with family and friends. So being in this luxury vacation rental home business has really been a way to integrate many of the things that I enjoy in life. So whether it's the ski trip in the Poconos that I mentioned, or going up to Martha's Vineyard and experiencing the magic there throughout the year, but especially in August.
mm.
That's really been a way where I've been able to, again, fuse many aspects of my life all together and enjoy it, create memorable moments, and also make some money along the way. We haven't expanded internationally just yet, but I'm really interested in doing so. I've had my eyes on a couple of different places, but one thing about international markets, the banking system and the credit options are not as developed. So you got to bring a lot of cash in order to close on those
Mm.
deals. So we focused mostly domestically since we started the company.
Wow. Wow. Actually, I love the point, and I need to check out that book, Integrated Life, because I think a lot of times many people, we think our lives are literally in silos, right? Like, so you like traveling and that's all you like to do, and there's nothing else that could be connected to travel, or you like to read and people don't recognize there are different ways that you could literally connect a lot of these things. And I hear it a lot, particularly for travelers. As a traveler, people don't necessarily recognize like how when we travel, how a lot of things can really come together, especially in the minds of travelers. And again, I'm echoing, like, look at how it has really changed or influenced your business, your pathway, what you're doing right now. And that is actually important, I think, for many people to recognize just our hobbies can really be integrated into just what we do. So I guess a book recommendation for this spring, this summer, Integrated Life. Who's it by?
You know what? I was actually just searching it last week, trying to remember who the author is. I couldn't find it, but I do have a hard copy of the book at my house. So,
Integrated Life.
Integrated Life is what it's called. It's a white cover with red lettering. That's what I remember, but
Mhm.
I can't remember the author.
No, that's good. Certainly, I'm definitely going to check it out. And if you're looking for a book this season, well, next season, summer, winter, for your free time, definitely check this book out. Um, and so, Carrington, why were luxury vacation rentals attractive to you and your partner to start the Getaway Society?
Yeah, we like to we focused on the luxury end because we often enjoy the finer things in life. I think sometimes people go on vacation and they're open to spending a little bit more to treat themselves for all of their hard work, and it's a way to escape kind of the daily stresses of life, whether it's work or family or what have you. So kind of the luxury segment allows us to really treat our guests,
Mm,
give them that extra special experience, whether it's providing gift baskets upon arrival, whether it's taking the hassle of them having to order sheets, linens, and towels and beach chairs and things like that in some of our locations. Or, as you mentioned, I think at the beginning of the podcast, creating what we're calling custom built, thoughtfully designed homes, such as this one that I'm in right now in
mm.
sunny Orlando, Florida. So
Wow.
we are welcoming our first guests for this house this Saturday. So you may see some boxes in the background. Right now, I'm in the fitness center, and you'll see the basketball court. We have an indoor basketball court in this house. So
Wow.
we're putting all the final touches so this house is ready for our guests to create a one of a kind, world class experience.
No, listen. Clearly, I see a Peloton behind you.
Yep.
Um, so I mean, if I'm going to assume the experience that the guest is going to get from staying at your property based on a Peloton alone, and I also see some fitness balls to my left, clearly looks like an elevated experience. So
Yes.
again, Carrington is going to leave all of the socials and the website for you to check these rentals out. But I think based on the little snapshot that we can see simply, well, if you're viewing this podcast, based on this, we know that you're gonna get an elevated experience. Okay, so the Getaway Society is simply because you and your friends you travel and you really want that elevated experience, which is important, right? When people when we're creating a thing that works for us, we should create it based on our likes and our dislikes. Would you think that it would be very different if you took a different approach? Maybe not luxury rentals. How did you think? Would you think that would work for you and your partners?
Yeah, I think when you have a vested interest, when you can kind of visual yourself as the guest, I think you're gonna create that much of a better experience simply because you're putting yourself in the guest's shoes.
Mm,
And so, being that this is how we like to travel, I think it's how we've been successful in creating that custom one of a kind experience. So whether it's a Peloton or indoor basketball court or there's you can't see them in the image, but we have Nike dumbbells, so a full
oh,
Nike dumbbell set for
okay.
those who consider themselves fitness enthusiasts. That's really the experience and the vibe that we're going for.
Nah, I really love this. I really love this. Wow. Good, good. And what was it about coming together in a beautiful space under one roof that fostered the creativity for you and your business partners, Calvin Butts Jr., to go into business together?
Yeah, I think if you reflect back on life, most people have some of their best memories being in a group, whether it was a group trip somewhere, traveling somewhere exotic, whether it was, thinking back in high school and playing sports or in choir or marching band. I think we're social beings. So
Hmm.
I think many of our greatest memories in life happen when we're with a group of people. And that's also why we focus kind of on larger houses. So um, four, five, six, eight, nine. This is actually a 12-bedroom house. So
Wow.
it can accommodate up to 30 people all under one roof. This is how people are traveling, whether it's multiple couples or whether it's a large group, or whether it's a multi-generational family or corporate retreats, executive retreats, family reunions, book clubs. We really like these larger homes because again it brings a lot of people together to create those memories that last a lifetime.
Wow. And I think what you said really just brings me back to the thought that there is power in community, right? And I
Absolutely.
actually, I've been saying for some time that I actually feel like sometimes we lose that connection with community because in today's world sometimes we move to an individualistic way of thinking and moving, which we're recognizing it causes tension here and there. But when we come together, and as you said, honestly, some of my best trips has been with groups. I actually just came from a boys trip to DR, and I'm still laughing at the experiences, whether it's something crazy somebody said, right? Or something simple, or maybe just a simple personality that you're like, we could have done without that personality on the trip because it really helped the experience. That proves that there is power in our community. And then when we even think about, again, you coming together with your partner, that shows the power of community. So wow, powerful point, powerful point, powerful point. um
If I could double click on that word community just one time, because I
yeah.
think it's relevant as it relates to investing.
Hmm.
You mentioned, I came together with my partner to do more together than we can as individuals. And if you think about the wealth gap and some of the other challenges that we face, it's imperative for us to pool our capital together as a community in order to invest together and again do more together than we can as individuals. I think folks should take that mindset as well as they think about investing or starting a business or doing whatever. You can often have strength when folks come together.
Wow. You know, Carrington, that in itself is a podcast by itself. I mean, I actually love this because again, power in community, and we do know that. I know many of our people. Well, first of all, many of our people have been cut out of the market, probably because they feel they may not have the capital individually to do it. Hence, why there is importance in coming together. Um, so listen, listeners, wherever you're listening from, if you're listening from New York, where the price of an apartment or homes are extremely high, maybe if you're going to take anything out of this, and we're going to talk about a few more things, but there's power in the community, power in coming together. And maybe all it takes is one person joining with another to really go in on a property, and that could probably move them out of poverty. So there's power in community. So we got a little bit right into finances and investment. So I know you're part of East Chop Capital, which is a private equity group. So just tell us a little bit about that for our listeners who may not know what private equity is, or even how private equity invests. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so to make it, just in simplest terms, so private equity is a term meaning capital or private or money. So private equity is private money.
Hmm.
Um, and then, it's investing in different things. So it could be investing in businesses. It could be acquiring entire businesses and turning them around and eventually selling them or operating them. It could be investing in real estate. So there are a lot of different ways to characterize what private equity is, but it's pooling private money together and then investing it in a certain endeavor. And the private part comes from, it's not a publicly traded. So where if you think about public investments, you're thinking about stuff that's traded on Wall Street or that's in the S&P 500, whether it's stocks, bonds, or mutual funds. So those are public securities, but private investments, that's kind of where the private equity realm falls into. Just a couple of quick terms I'll toss out for those who may not be familiar with it. But typically, in order to invest in private market deals, you must be what's called an accredited investor. And
Mm.
that's a SEC or Securities and Exchange Commission definition. And the criteria for that is as an individual, 200,000 in annual household income, as a married couple, 300,000 in annual income, or a $1 million net worth, excluding a primary residence. And
Mm.
it's really consumer protection. The SEC wants to make sure that you have the financial wherewithal and the financial intelligence to be able to make an informed decision regarding what you may or may not invest in. So, and under East Chop Capital, so we've been around for about 7 years. We mentioned community earlier. We have a community of about 300 investors.
Wow.
90% are Black or people of color, excuse me, and about 10% are white, and about
Mm.
23% are women. So they've invested either in our real estate opportunities or other syndicated deals where we've invested in a variety of companies.
Wow. 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 Okay, that is really powerful. 300.
Yes, yep, 300. Oh, more than 300. Yes,
More than 300.
yeah,
That.
it's been wonderful building these relationships over time. A lot of our investors have made their first investment with us. We say our commitment is to provide the best combined financial, educational, and social returns. So with any investment, financial returns is the expectation. but we're equally as passionate about the educational returns, people
Hmm.
learning about investing and doing deals and real estate, and then also the social returns, bringing people together and having a good time.
Wow, this is powerful. I guess this is echoing on our term for today, community, right? Um, and so why is private equity, and how do you think it would be powerful in building generational wealth, particularly within the Black and Brown community?
Yeah, well, part of it is pooling resources to do more together than you can as individuals, and it's not just financial resources. So
Mhm.
obviously, if you're looking to invest in real estate, a group of people can buy either larger or maybe even better or higher quality assets because of
Mhm.
where they might be located or their price point. So a group of people can either purchase better quality or maybe more assets than
Yeah.
one individual person can. And then, secondly, if you have a group of people, you can invest smarter together because you're not just leveraging Carrington's skill set or Calvin's skill set. You're
Mm.
leveraging other skill sets, other perspectives, other areas of expertise where you can share information and communicate to make you better investors together because you can leverage the intellectual capital of a larger group. So that's whether it's pooling resources to deploy more capital, or whether it's leveraging more people to make smarter investments. That collectively will help us close the wealth gap.
Wow. Wow. Listen, Carrington, I mean, again, I keep saying I'm hoping what our listeners are walking away from this conversation is really leaning on this term community and how important it is to really moving our people forward. Again, I'm echoing. I really feel that, especially within today's society, sometimes we can become individuals in the way we think and the way we move, and we don't recognize that when we come together, how powerful that is. Even though it could be a little bit sticky at times. So, talk a little bit about that, because here we are, clearly, 300 plus people who are investing together. Just talk a little bit about, like, maybe the challenges, but anchor us back to the importance of sticking together, and how honestly that has really helped and moved East Chop and the Getaway Society forward.
Yeah. I would say, it kind of starts with, having a strong vision, having a strong vision and clearly outlining, the goals, the values, and the objectives of the organization. And then also, having the right leadership, having the right people at the helm who are of good character and honest and put others above themselves, service over self. I think
Yeah.
kind of when you have that right spirit and that right mentality, then it magnetizes other folks to you and want to support you and invest in you and invest with you. Um, trust, and it takes a long time to build trust. It takes a long time to build trust. I think that's why it's important for us to start. Look to your friends, your family, your church members, fraternity brothers, sorority sisters. Look
Mm.
look in your circle to invest in. I know a lot of times we don't like to talk about money in our
Hmm.
community, but um, there's a certain bond that you have and a certain trust that you developed over years, which make it easier to start to invest in folks if you can, get over the initial discomfort with, doing something different and in thinking about investing.
Wow. Okay. This is good. Really good advice that is really helping me, helping all of us. But I think let's get back to the Getaway Society and just tell us a little bit more about where the properties are. So we know you're in Orlando now, one of your brand spanking new properties that you said you actually built from ground up.
Yes.
13 bedrooms,
Yes. 12 bedrooms. Yes. 12
12
bedrooms. Yep.
bedrooms. And
Yep.
so just show us on the map, let's visualize it. Let's just think for a moment where the map is. Where are these properties, and yeah, where are they in the US?
And we'll start up top. We'll start up top. So our we've sold quite a few houses over the last couple of years
Okay.
because they appreciated quite rapidly. So we want to take some of that money off the top and distribute it out to some of our investors. But let's start up in the Northeast. So Martha's Vineyard, We've been
Mm,
on the vineyard over the last 10 years. Really love the magic there and the beauty of the vineyard. Great people, great food, great environment. So we
mm,
have two homes up there, a 4 bedroom and a 5 bedroom in the Oak Bluffs area, which has a lot of history, especially in the African American community. And the
mhm.
name of our private equity firm actually came from the vineyard. East Chop is a section in
Ah,
the town of Oak Bluffs and Martha's Vineyard. So going
wow.
south, we are also in south going down from the vineyard, Gatlinburg. So we have 3 cabins in Gatlinburg, a 4 bedroom and 2 5 bedrooms.
Okay.
Gatlinburg is within a 1 day drive of 70% of the U.S. population. So there are likely 70% of your listeners or
Uh-huh.
viewers can likely get to Gatlinburg in a 1 day drive, and that's also home to the number one visited national park in the country, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
Wow.
So if you're an outdoorsy person, you like hiking, you like biking, or if you like theme parks and amusement parks, Gatlinburg is really a special place that offers a lot.
Mm.
Hilton,
Sounds like a good summer getaway.
absolutely. So
Okay. So
Hilton Head, South
Gatlinburg.
Carolina. We're
Okay.
also in Hilton Head, South Carolina. A lot of history there as well. It's about 40 minutes outside of Savannah. And there's a lot of history there with the Gullah Geechee culture. So we're in Hilton Head, specifically in the Palmetto Dunes community, which is home to 3 championship golf courses and over 150 miles of biking trails.
Wow. Wow.
And if you like seafood, that's also a great place to be. And we have a 7 bedroom house in Hilton Head.
Hmm.
Uh, and in Orlando, we have 3 houses and we're building a fourth. We are 10 minutes south of Disney. So if you are a kid at heart, or if you
Huh.
have children or nieces, nephews, then we are 10 minutes south of Disney and the exclusive and award winning Reunion Resort. Also 25 minutes south of Universal, and they're opening up their Universal Epic Universe Memorial Day weekend. So 5 brand new theme parks opening in Universal. Oklahoma, we're in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, a boutique community 3 hours north of Dallas, and we're also doing some new construction along the Texas Gulf Coast. So I think that rounds out our portfolio.
Wow, no, that's a wide variety in various places within the U.S. Which so clearly, listeners, no matter where you're listening from in the U.S. and if you're listening from the U.K. or Canada, a lot of these places are drivable. We know, well, a lot is happening politically right now, but nonetheless, there's still drive or a flight away. But clearly, you're building a lot in Florida, in Orlando. Why?
Yep. So a couple of things. One, I mentioned, Disney. Disney World is a one of a kind place that attracts people literally from all over the world.
Hmm.
And then the great weather, year round, fantastic weather down here in Florida, Central Florida. Golf courses, the resort where our houses are located have 3 championship golf courses. I mentioned Universal and the opening of Epic Universe as well. And then you're also 1 hour to a beach on either side. So on the east, you have Daytona and Cocoa Beach. On the west, you have Clearwater. So it's
Mm.
easy to get to either beach if you're in Central Florida. And then with the Bright Line train station, you can get down to Miami on the train in 2.5, 3 hours if you don't want to get on a flight. So you can have the comfort
Come
and convenience
on.
of the train.
Wow. Okay. Listen, you sold me right there, babe. The beach was all I needed to hear for those of us who love the beach. And this makes sense. Wow. Listen, Carrington, this was really good. I mean, listeners, hopefully that you have learned a lot from this conversation. Again, the Getaway Society, East Shop Capital, if you're interested in investing, there was a lot of meat that was really dropped here that I really think will be important. We're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to wrap this entire conversation up with Carrington from the Getaway Society from East Chop Capital. Listen, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, so welcome back to today's conversation with Carrington. Again, Carrington is from the Getaway Society, East Chop Capital. Listen, the conversation today has been rich. It has really been fruitful for me, and hopefully for you who are listening or viewing this podcast episode. You are walking away, maybe on your drive to work, maybe you're on your drive from work, because that's where I listen to podcasts. I don't listen to my I don't sit down and view it on YouTube, but if you view it on YouTube, you know, whatever works for you. Hopefully, you're leaving this conversation with something. And for me, it's a reminder of the power of community. What's yours? What's yours? So maybe comment, I want to hear, what did you leave this conversation with? Again, for me, the power of community. But like we do on all of our podcast episodes, we shout out someone, but today we're going to pass the mic over to our guest, and we're going to pass it over to Carrington to do today's shout outs. Carrington?
So I'm going to shout out a couple of groups. So if you have stayed in any of our Getaway Society properties, whether the Poconos, Martha's Vineyard, Hilton Head, Orlando, thank you so much for choosing us. I'm also going to shout out Hamptonians, so all my pirate family out there. Appreciate your support, your investment, and your rooting us along for the last 10 plus years. Also shout out to other HBCU alum, and shout out to East Chop Capital investors too. Whether you invested $5,000 or $500,000, we appreciate and could not have been on this journey without you. So grateful for your support. So a lot of folks to shout out. Too many to
That's okay. And in that, when we're talking about the power of community, and when we have community, and when we know that we have people who have helped us along, it is also important to say thank you. And so this is part of just building community. We must be grateful. Gratitude is a must. Who sang that song? that song. Listen, so play that song while you're listening to this podcast episode. Gratitude is a must. While you're building community, while you're growing and you're elevating, gratitude is a must. So shout out to Hamptonian, shout out to the East Chop Capital Group, shout out to everyone who has really helped and been with Carrington, the Getaway Society, and who has grown this business. Shout out to you all. Carrington, we're closing this conversation out. And we usually play games, to close out these episodes. Sometimes we play this or that, but today we're not going to be doing this or that. Today we're going to be asking you, your choice. So guess this, which country for the question that I'm going to ask, or for the thing that I'm going to ask. So which country, for instance, I may say, which country for wine? You may say France. It may be Italy. Argentina, and you may say maybe Argentina because I love Malbec wine. So
you like Malbec. Yep.
See, so Argentina would have been that response. All right. So which country for food?
For food, I'm gonna go with Barbados. So my wife is Bayesian, and her stepmother cooks for us often. So I'm gonna go with Barbados.
Wow. Okay. Bayesian food. That's good. Okay. Bayesian. For scenic landscapes.
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. Okay. And transportation.
Transportation, I'm gonna go with let's go with New York, or let's go with the U.S. Let's go with New York. I lived in Jersey for a couple of years and very familiar with the subway system there and the train system. So I'm gonna go with the U.S.
The U.S. Good. And for adventure.
I think I'm gonna go with Costa Rica again.
Listen, Costa Rica has come in twice, yes. So I mean, I could see.
Maybe Jamaica. I'll throw Jamaica in there.
No. Keep Costa Rica. Like, clearly, it's a winner for you. You did say it's your favorite so far. So, Costa Rica or Jamaica?
You know what? I'm gonna add another one. I'm gonna say Belize. I went to Belize 3 times last year, so I'll say Belize.
Okay, Belize. Yeah. So Belize for adventure, and for historical sites tours.
History. Wow. You can tell when I go on vacation, I don't indulge in the history as much as I should. History tours. I'm gonna say the U.S. I visited many museums and sites here, so I'm gonna go with the U.S.
Okay. The US, I mean, the US does have a lot of museums, especially DC.
Yep.
You should listen when you come to the US. You're visiting. Definitely go to DC. Amazing museums,
Hmm.
amazing. Okay, and for relaxation,
For relaxation, I can't say Costa Rica again.
I
Well,
mean, you could say it if that is your relaxation spot.
I'll say Bali. I'll say Bali, Indonesia. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Bali,
Yep.
Bali. Okay, now shopping.
Shopping. I'm not a big shopper, so I've been putting so much of my personal money into my businesses for the last 10 plus years. So not really big on shopping, but
Channel the wife. Channel the wife.
yeah, we'll say Paris. We'll say Paris or
Paris.
France.
Okay.
France. Yep.
Yes, France. Okay, and for I know you do luxury, but if we're gonna like give a little bit of advice for our budget travelers, which country would be budget friendly
Budget
or
friendly.
destination?
Budget friendly. Dominican Republic. You mentioned DR. Yeah, you mentioned DR. I
Yeah,
think it's pretty easy to get around on a slim budget in DR. You got the all
I
inclusive resorts if you want to stay on property, or if you want to be a little bit more adventurous. I think DR has a lot of good options.
DR. Okay, we're winding it down. We're winding it down. Unique experiences.
Unique experiences. Unique experiences.
It's not the regular tourist hotspot that does the same old, but it's very different. Like you get a different experience there.
Yeah. So I switched my answer before to Belize. So I'll say Jamaica. I'll say Jamaica.
Jamaica,
Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Different
Okay,
experiences. Yep. Yep.
good, good. And I know we're talking about the power of community. So okay, I this wasn't what part on it, but which destination is best for communities?
I'm we are invested in we're invested in Martha's Vineyard. I'm gonna say the U.S. Martha's Vineyard. It's a community and a magic like no other. So I'm going to say Martha's Vineyard.
I love that. And now on the reverse, we're going away from community now to the people who like to travel solo. Which destination?
Let me see. I have never taken a solo trip.
It's never too late.
When I went to DR, I went there early, so I spent a couple of days by myself solo.
Okay.
But I would say all of the places that I recommended can be good for solo travel. It's a good time to unwind, have some peace and quiet to yourself, be reflective.
Hmm.
It's often good to be by yourself. You can plan and strategize and set goals for the year ahead. So I would say any of the destinations that I mentioned are equally as good for solo travel.
For solo traveling. Good, good. And last one for those who are looking for a romantic getaway, where would you recommend?
Romantic getaway. Let me see. I think Maldives. Maldives. Maldives.
Yeah, that's on the top of the list for many people.
Yeah.
I'll respond to that one by saying Tanzania.
Mm,
Well,
mm,
Zanzibar.
yep. Oh yeah.
Zanzibar.
Yep.
But these are good recommendations. So Maldives, um, we got Costa Rica. So you got places. If these are not on your list, if you're looking for a recommendation of a place to check out this year for various reasons, these are Carrington's take on where you should consider. But Carrington, we're at the end of today's conversation. But before we go, um, can you leave your socials of East Chop, of Getaway Society, wherever you want our listeners to connect with you?
Yes. On Instagram at Getaway Society, Getaway Society. Also on IG at East Chop Capital. We're also on LinkedIn, both handles, Facebook as well, and our websites, of course. Would love to host you and your friends, family on a group trip. And if you are interested in learning more about investments, feel free to reach out to us under our East Chop Capital Company.
This is amazing. Listen, reach out, reach out. Again, there's power in community. And as people, we can really move mountains by coming together. So definitely reach out and connect to East Chop Capital and the Getaway Society. And as we end today's conversation, remember that we are Young Black Travelers, and we want to thank you for listening to today's episode with Carrington and the Getaway Society and East Chop Capital. And we want to remind you to stay connected with us. We're on all social media platforms, on most social media platforms, I should say. We're on Facebook at Young Black Travelers. We're on Instagram at Young Black Travelers Blog. We're on Threads at Young Black Travelers Blog. We're on TikTok at Young Black Travelers. Instagram, again, at Young Black Travelers Blog. So stay tuned, stay connected. Check out our website, youngblacktravelers.com. And again, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Share this podcast episode. Tell someone about the meat, the juice, the tea, whatever you got from today's podcast episode. Share it with someone. Again, I got meat. I got some solid tea, some solid cocoa tea from my country, St. Vincent. It was solid. It was meaty. And remember to travel boldly, embrace culture, and leave a legacy wherever you go. Carrington, any closing words for our listeners?
No closing words. I hope something that I hope I said something was said that has been valuable, and you learned something new. Work together. You can do more together than you can as individuals, and I wish you happy and safe traveling this year and beyond.
Thank you. We are all in this together. Travel boldly, embrace culture, and leave a legacy wherever you go. Have a wonderful day.